Hello and welcome. You're watching the Tuesday edition of This Is Exclusive with me, Hafiz Saeed. Ladies and gentlemen, Abu Qatal, nephew of 2611 mastermind, was eliminated in Pakistan. Tonight on This Is Exclusive, for the first time, we're going to get you images of Abu Qatal in an active launchpad in Pakistan-Occupied Kashmir. All this and much more. First, let's get you the breaking news now coming in. The big story. For the first time, we're getting you details of where exactly was Abu Qatal, and if we can also tell you the details of who exactly is Abu Qatal. Nephew of Hafiz Saeed, the active member of the Lashkar linked to the 2023 Rajouri attack as well as Reasi attack. In fact, it turns out that Abu Qatal on 27th of February was actually present in a launchpad in Pakistan-Occupied Kashmir, in Berthan in particular. In fact, details that we're getting in right now is with regards to this very location that he had visited, and thereafter the elimination that took place in Pakistan. On your screens right now, these are the images that we're going to stay with. The person that has been circled is Abu Qatal. Abu Qatal, in fact, had visited one of the launch pads on 27th of February, killed just about a few days ago. In fact, one of the videos of him visiting the active launch pad in Pakistan-Occupied Kashmir was actually shared with the Lashkar-e-Toiba cadres. In fact, they were told that Abu Qatal was preparing for another attack, and in fact, the preparations were basically underway. This is a visit that he made in Berthan area in Pakistan-Occupied Kashmir. Ladies and gentlemen, let me also quickly take you through some more details that we are basically picking up with regards to what really has happened in Pakistan and how exactly a pattern essentially is emerging. And the pattern being that those who have been against India and have been operating from Pakistan, in fact, who were in Pakistan, they are now being eliminated. We'll stay with these visuals for now, till the time we get Gursimran getting us more details. Now, this is fortnight before his killing. He's also known as Zia Sindhi, and he visited one of the active launch pads in Berthan area of Pakistan-Occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Now, Zia Sindhi, also known as Abu Qatal, he was actually accompanied by a few others, as you can see right now on your screens. In fact, this is considered to be the security of Abu Qatal who was along with them. He spent roughly about a few hours in Berthan area and thereafter left for Lahore. We've also put out the exact coordinates that we can put out on our grid right now. The exact coordinates of the area is 33.8664190, 74.1861989. That's the exact coordinate of the area where he was spotted. And as you can see right now on the screens, this is the fourth person who's been circled right now, covered. This was during a snowfall that was taking place in one of the launch pad when he was spotted. I'll also go across to Gursimran while we stay full frame with these visuals. The only visuals that has been accessed of Abu Qatal, who was spotted in Berthan area of Pakistan-Occupied Kashmir before the elimination took place. Gursimran, we're staying with these visuals that have been accessed for the first time on Indian television. No other channel has been able to access these images of Abu Qatal, who was killed in a mysterious manner in Pakistan. In fact, it turns out that since starting from 2023 to now, about 8 terrorists linked to the Lashkar-e-Toiba have already been killed, eliminated in Pakistan. Some say there could be a gang war. What's really happening inside Pakistan right now?
Sishawan, what it seems that it's the internal rivalry of the Pakistani terror groups to show their supremacy to their parent organization, that is to ISI, for the funding, and that's why one commander of a terror group is being killed by the unknown gunman, then other terror commander is being killed by the unknown gunman, and so was the case of the Zia Rahman alias Abu Qatal alias Zia Sindhi. He was one of the dreaded terrorists of Lashkar-e-Toiba because he has spent 6 years of his life in Jammu and Kashmir, especially in the Rajouri Poonch, and that was why he was called one of those Ghazis of the Lashkar-e-Toiba for J&K operations. Ghazi, the name that is given to the top commander who overlooks the terror attacks, that is the operations what the Lashkar calls in Jammu and Kashmir. Now coming to this video that has been accessed, it is said to be from the Berthan area. Some of the coordinates we have also got access to. This area is in opposite to the Shank Doda, that is in the Poonch district, and here at one of the launching pads, that what we are told, he was moving there. He was there for a couple of hours. It was during the inclement weather condition that he was there for a couple of hours. What he did there is not known to us, whether he took part in some training or whether he only spoke to those who were active at the launch pads, the terrorists that were planning to sneak in into the Indian territory. That is not known to us, but when he was heading back, there were some of the videos that were taken by the Lashkar-e-Toiba cadres, and then it was shared after his killing with the cadres of the Lashkar-e-Toiba, showing that they are one of those Ghazis who has now been killed was still planning a terror strike when he was killed. So he was on the ground till his last, was the message that the Lashkar wanted to give to its cadres for strengthening them. Yes.
Well, Gursubran, will also help our viewers understand who exactly is Abu Qatal, and many experts are suggesting that perhaps Hafiz Saeed could actually be the next as far as the elimination list is really concerned. But first, let me tell you why these images are extremely significant, because till now, there was not a single image of Abu Qatal and what was he really doing in Pakistan. It turns out, the details here is that he's actually been to one of the active launch pads. Let's take you through the details. Abu Qatal is also known as Zia Sindhi. He was spotted in Berthan area of Pakistan-Occupied Kashmir. Now that's a launch pad which is active. In fact, there are several terrorists who have been trained by the Lashkar-e-Toiba who were present there. So it turns out that on 27th of February this year is when he made that visit. Now, Qatal is essentially reviewing one of the many active terror launch pads in Berthan area. In fact, we've been told there's over a dozen such active launch pads. Now, that is the place from where the infiltration actually takes place, the attempts that are essentially made for the infiltration to take place in the Jammu and Kashmir area. Video that has been circulated was by the Lashkar-e-Toiba after Qatal's killing. Now, this also gained more prominence because given the fact that you have one of the top leaders of Lashkar-e-Toiba being eliminated in Pakistan, some saying it's because of a gang war that's taken place. He left for Lahore after visiting Berthan, which is again an active launchpad area. Let's take you through more details now coming in. I'm going to put out that image once again for you because it's important for our viewers to know that this is for the first time that there is a direct link that is emerging, that this man, this terrorist, nephew of Hafiz Saeed, who has been actively working on a plan, and the plan was to carry on infiltration through the launch pad in Pakistan-Occupied Kashmir, and it turns out that he was actually reviewing that. Now, if you're wondering who exactly is this person and how exactly he is linked to the Reasi attack as well as Rajouri, I'll get you my colleague Gursubran on this. Gursubran, walk us through the details of the links that Abu Qatal has had with various terrorist attacks that have actually taken place in Jammu and Kashmir in the last 1 year itself.
See, Shawan, this dates back to 1996 when for the first time Abu Qatal was sent to Jammu and Kashmir. It was that time of 1996 when there was no fence on the border, so it was easy to infiltrate. He was here for 3 years. He carried out several attacks. At that time, the Hizbul Mujahideen was not extending the support to Lashkar-e-Toiba. So Lashkar was actually increasing its ground strength, and that's why Pakistanis were sent in large numbers to Jammu and Kashmir. Then in 1999, he went back to the Pakistan. Then in 2001, he came to Jammu and Kashmir, stayed for 2 months in the Rajouri Poonch, and then he went back to the Pakistan. For 2 decades, it was complete silence that there is some terrorist named as Zia Rahman or Abu Qatal, because there was no footprints of him being active in the Lashkar cadres. But then on 1st of January 2023, there was Dhangri terror attack. 5 Hindus were killed after checking their Aadhaar cards on the day 1. On 2nd of January, 2 Hindus were killed in an ID attack in the same place. Then during the investigation, it came into being that there is some terrorist named Zia Rahman. Then on the 20th of April, there was a terror attack on the Indian Army's Rashtra Rifle, in which 5 jawans of the Indian Army, they attained martyrdom. And during that investigation, the National Investigation Agency made a key arrest. The key arrest was of Nisar, that was from the Mendhar area of Poonch. And when Nisar was questioned, then came the entire sequence that it was Zia ul Rahman alias Abu Qatal who revived his old contacts of 1996 to 2003 to carry out these attacks. What he was doing, he was sending the consignment to Nisar. Nisar was picking the drone dropped consignments of cash, narcotics, even weapons, and then he was handing it over to the smugglers and the weapons and the cash to the terrorists for their survival. And for the Dhangri terror attack as well as Bhata Dunia terror attack, Nisar had given the weapons as well as cash to them.
Well, I just want you to stay on with us because with more breaking news now coming in. But let's talk about the pattern that has emerged. Since 2023, number of killings actually have taken place. Let's take you through all of them who have been killed. In fact, this is part of a gang war, is what many say. Bashir Ahmad Pir, he was known for trading fresh batch of armed terrorists in Kashmir. He was killed. This is back in 2023. Let's take you through the other names. They all were killed just the way Abu Qatal was killed. Hizbul Mujahideen terrorist was also shot dead in Rawalpindi. That's Bashir Ahmad Pir. Saeed Khalid Raza, a former commander of the anti-India group Al-Badr. Now, this man too was killed. He's linked to the Islamic State of Khorasan province. Once again killed in Pakistan. Let's take you through more details. He was gunned down by the unknown assailant. Now, the modus operandi seems to be pretty much similar. That you have unknown assailants coming them and gunning them down. Mistri Zahur Ibrahim, Jaish terrorist who've been shot dead at point blank range. Then you have Reasi Ahmed, Lashkar terrorist who conspired the Dhangri terror attack. He too was killed in Pakistan. He was shot dead by unidentified men inside Al-Qudus Mosque in Rawalkot. Again, look at this. All of them have the same pattern. Key aide of Jaish Chief Masood Azhar, he was killed. Shahid Latif, mastermind of the 2016 attack on Pathankot Air Force Base, he was killed. He was gunned down in a mosque, that too in Sialkot area. So once again, clearly looking at each of them have the same kind of modus operandi. Hansla Adnan, mastermind of the attack of the BSF convoy in Udhampur 2015. Let's take you through more details. He was shot outside his house in Karachi by unknown gunmen. All of them, similar modus operandi. Unknown assailants have gunned them down. Now, that's the latest details now coming in. Let's also now take you through more details now coming in from Pakistan as to what's really happening there. Because it turns out you have a security meeting that has been carried out. In fact, we're going to get you more details of it. But before that, let's take you through the details now coming in from Pakistan with regards to that security meeting that took place. Let's take you through the details of it. In fact, this is after the series of killings that have actually taken place. And it turns out that after the killings that were taking place in Pakistan, we're just now shifting focus now to the other big story that's also coming in. There's a breaking news coming in, shifting focus from there. We've just got a breaking news with regards to the Nagpur violence, the Muslim mob violence that's taken place. We have spoken to the injured DCP in Nagpur, and he has now confirmed to Republic TV that this was an orchestrated crime. In fact, he has spoken to my colleague Sandeep. That's the big breaking news coming in. It's the injured DCP speaking to my colleague Sandeep. Listen in.
Yesterday there was a big law and order issue in that area. There were a lot of antisocial elements available there. There were weapons, there were petrol bottles and other equipments also apart from stones. And there was heavy stone pelting. In that stone pelting, many officers and our constables got injured. Thankfully, nobody is grievously injured. I got the injury by an ex. That one person has attacked using X because our team was trapped there. In order to save that team, I went ahead and I tried to stop that mob, and one of the person from that mob that attacked me, and I got injured.
Was it a planned mob or what is a because ultimately you cannot bring the petrol bombs impromptu. There should be and these numbers of people, like more than 100 people were there at that point in time. What is your observation?
No, in the later part of the thing, after 2100 hours, it was seen in those lanes. Some people were pelting stones from above the building also. So primarily it was seen that it was some sort of pre-planned thing, but still we can't comment on it right now. We have registered the offences and it's a part of investigation. If it was pre-planned, then it will come out in the investigation.
Well, the injured DCP who's spoken to Republic TV has called this a completely orchestrated crime. In fact, a flag march is now being conducted in Nagpur. Let me go across to my colleague Sandeep, who's joining us on this broadcast. Sandeep, you spoke to the injured DCP. He's calling it an orchestrated crime. The Muslim mob that carried out vandalism in central Nagpur. What's really happening on the ground right now?
Right, Shavan, I would like to show you the live visuals from this very location. This, you can see how police officers are on the ground, and in fact a flag march. A flag march has been in fact called out by the Nagpur police right now. As we give you the live visuals, heavy forces are on the streets of Mahal, wherein this whole incident, wherein this whole mob violence took place yesterday. Remember, more than 30 officers of Nagpur police got injured in that very violence, and in fact there were many violence was reported in this very locality. Kanti, pan the camera and show the visuals. This is the locality wherein this whole incident had happened. A large mob had attacked the police officers who were in fact out there for security. At the same point in time, when the Vishwa Hindu Parishad and the Bajrang Dal were protesting against the tomb of Aurangzeb, at the same point in time the mob had in fact gathered out there and in fact attacked, and violence had taken place. And in fact you see the Commissioner of Police of Nagpur, he is leading this very flag march. We give you the live visuals out there. We'll try to get his reaction. We'll try to speak to him once again. Mr. Singhal. So Mr. Singhal will just speak to the CP out there. CP sir, what is the current status? What are you trying to establish right now? Massive force on the streets of Mahal.
See, because we have to do such kind of actions, we have to take such actions because we have to keep the peace in the city,
right?
And that's what we are doing.
As far as your forces are concerned, many police officers got injured into it. What is the current status of their health? What kind of actions are you taking against those people who were involved in the violence, sir?
So our people who were injured yesterday, 2 of them are still in the hospital, and but some of them, like my officer who is walking with me, he was also injured. In fact, I also got stone pelted.
Right.
So all these things were there, but they should not deter us because we are there to save, support, and keep maintain peace in the city.
Police officers are being attacked, sir. What actions are you going to take, sir?
So actions are being taken. They are being identified. That is why 50 people were taken into custody yesterday, and the same process is
इतना
going.
वक्त क्यों लग रहा है आपको गिरफ्तारी करने में? 50 से ज़्यादा लोगों को आप लोगों ने आइडेंटिफाई कर लिया है, लेकिन उसके बाद गिरफ्तारी, कौन है मास्टरमाइंड, अभी तक आप पता नहीं कर पाए?
आप देख सकते हैं कि इस तरह की जो भी एक्टिविटी होती है, पीपल ट्राई टू रन अवे, एंड दैट्स क्लियर. और अगर इस तरह की कोई चीज़ है तो वो हम उसको आइडेंटिफाई कर रहे हैं, और जो जैसे मैंने आपको बताया, दे आर डिफरेंट वेज जिसके थ्रू हम लोग ये कर रहे हैं.
तो कितना वक्त लग सकता है सर, क्योंकि कम्युनिकेशन पैटर्न आपको समझ में आया है? कौन है मास्टरमाइंड, किसने बुलाया लोगों को इतनी संख्या में?
मैं अभी आपको कुछ नहीं बता पाऊंगा इसमें, क्योंकि हमारी अलग अलग टीम्स इस पे काम कर रही है. साइबर टीम जो है वो अलग से काम कर रही है, हमारे क्राइम यूनिट्स हैं वो लोग अलग से काम कर रहे हैं. तो सब कुल मिला के उसके बाद में इंटेलिजेंस शेयर के बाद में हम लोग ये कर.
टेररिस्ट से पत्थरबाजी की गई थी, तो कहीं ना कहीं ये एस्टैब्लिश होता हुआ नहीं दिखाई दे रहा आपको कि कहीं ना कहीं ये प्लान था, पेट्रोल बम यूज किए गए थे?
नहीं, ऐसा मैं नहीं बोल पाऊंगा, क्योंकि अभी जैसे मैंने बताया कि इन्फॉर्मेशन के आधार पे आई कैन टेल यू,
राइट,
और उसी के बारे में आपको बता पाऊँ.
Thank you so much for talking to us. We give you the live visuals out there. The CP of Nagpur, in fact, is on the streets of Mahal, and in fact, we'll speak to Rahul Madane. Rahul Madane, the officer who had got injured, into that very violence yesterday. We'll speak to him. Kanti, if you could come here. DCP Rahul Madane, in fact, DCP Rahul Madane is with us. Rahul ji, कल जो घटना घटी थी उसमें आपको भी चोटें आई थी, कैसे लोग हैं वो, कैसे आपके ऊपर अटैक किया गया था, कुछ अगर जानकारी दे सके तो so right now Rahul Madane is not willing to talk to us as he's a part of the flag march, but we give you the live visuals. Heavy security, heavy forces, the forces from the state police, reserve police force. They have been in fact called out. The commando forces of state police, in fact, a quick response team, they have been in fact called out. And you see the live visuals. You see the number of police officers out here, the number of women police officers, in fact, the Home Guard officials are out here. They have in fact, they have been brought out here on the street, and in fact, they were present yesterday also. They were present.
Well, in fact, a flag march now being conducted in central Nagpur to bring things under control. As we know, the latest coming in from central Nagpur, that things have been brought under control, and it turns out that this was completely pre-planned, and that's the indication now coming in. Should we focus now to the final big story now coming in, the big details on how exactly George Soros was funding NGOs in India. A big crackdown that has been carried out, details of the investigation that has been carried out. In fact, we're given to understand that employees of Amnesty as well as Greenpeace have now come under the scanner of the central agency. In fact, it turns out that searches were carried out at 7 to 8 locations. Now, important to point out here is that after the crackdown by the back in 2016 by the Ministry of Home Affairs against the Open Soros Foundation, they essentially came out with another entity. Now, this very entity was directly funding companies, and the companies are now under the scanner of the central agency. How exactly was the money being distributed? The money was being distributed through a company that was being funded by Soros. In fact, on your screens right now, this is post the Ministry of Home Affairs crackdown. You've had George Soros coming up with a different entity altogether. 75% of the share was actually bought of Rootbridge, and they started funding different NGOs. In fact, it turns out that 300 crore rupees with FDI was actually brought in through multiple entities. 25 crore FDI was actually brought in from 2 companies that were linked to George Soros. And in fact, they were thereafter distributing money to the NGOs. On your screens now, this is how exactly the distribution of money was actually taking place. It turns out that employees of Amnesty and Greenpeace were receiving the funding. On your screens right now, how RSPL, the company that was getting direct funding from George Soros, was distributing it further, sending it to SEDF. About 18 crore rupees was sent to them. The NGOs basically received roughly about 2.31 crore rupees, and domestic donations were made of about 5 crore rupees. 57% went in for about salaries, 7% on consultant fees, 14% vendor payments, and 14% statutory fees. In fact, one person who was being searched by the Enforcement Directorate is in Bengaluru. We'll try and see if we can go across live to him and get you the latest details of the searches that were carried out at the residence of the Amnesty as well as Greenpeace. In fact, both were actually searched by the Enforcement Directorate earlier today, and it turns out that they are now largely looking at how the fund was being distributed. Abhishek from Republic Canada is actually joining us right now on this broadcast. Abhishek, you're outside the residence of one such person linked to Amnesty and also to Greenpeace. They were being searched by the Enforcement Directorate. If you can just move around and just show us where exactly the searches were carried out, how exactly is he linked, what are the details that are now emerging?
Well, Shavani, the Republic Canada team tried to visit the Greenpeace director's place, and this is the location in the screen where you see Ananta Padmanabhan Guruswamy, who's the former director of Greenpeace, is said that he is residing here. And also, ED, the Enforcement Directorate, conducted raids on 7 locations, and which is related to 3 companies. With respect to the Soros funding, the FDI through various other means, it is alleged that George Soros, who has invested more than 325 crores in various other means to India, is using a pattern by major shareholding of 75 crores in Greenpeace. And also, it is very clear that the NGOs transferred the money which has been come from George Soros to various other companies and NGOs in the name of salaries and betterment fees. And at this location, it is said that the NGO, the former director who was staying here, isn't allowing anyone to shoot the premises, what the local people around here complain. And also, it is very clear that couple of companies, say the Greenpeace company or the NGO which we visited in the evening, has closed down his place, has closed down the place back in 2022. So the raids have been completed, and we are waiting for much other details from the ED as of now. Back to you, Shawan.
Very much, Abhishek, for getting us the latest details. That's all that we could pack in this edition of This Is Exclusive. We'll be back tomorrow, the same time, with more stories.